In Canada, they're talking about the bio-digital convergence. This is all the stuff that we talked about, that what this whole scamdemic's really been about. It's been ushering in this whole smart grid. That's what it's always been about, folks, right since day one. So they're talking about bio-digital convergence in Canada. At the same time, there was another hack. Harcourts has been hacked. They're saying, of course, this means we need digital IDs and all sorts of stuff like that. There was a digital ID set up, put in one of the airports, I think in Detroit, where you can go and get a facial scan as you walk through, and when you do, you'll get your own specific menu come up on the screen that can only be seen by you.
So here's a new experience or new technology. It's called Parallel Reality Experience, Delta Terminal in Atlanta. So what you do is you scan your boarding pass here, or you walk through the reality section here, and then you walk over here to this area that's marked off in blue tape. And when you're in the area, what happens is the technology will recognize who you are. You'll look up at this screen, and only you will be able to see your information, gate information, other information that the airline's providing. But somebody standing right next to you will only see their information and not your information. It's kind of cool.
That's interesting, isn't it? They're also talking about bringing in new ID numbers for driver's licenses in Victoria. They're piloting the digital currency system in Australia, and they are bringing in the cashless grid in Germany. By December, they're saying there will be no cash available in Germany from telemachines, or a lot of telemachines. Not all of them, I don't think. They'll be starting to phase out cash by December this year. In Canada, there's a Canadian credit union which is about to launch a Visa carbon credit card that tracks your carbon footprint. And of course, you see there on the ad, it's looking at your transportation footprint. Interesting, folks. As we've said many times, they don't want you traveling. They want you in these little walkable zones. So there's no reason for you to have to travel more than 5 kilometres from your house, because everything you need is there. It's like a compact little city where you've got your own supermarkets and your own this and your own that. So there's no reason for you to go and fraternise with the other suburbs. You know, they want everybody in their own little pens. Similar to what they're doing with this whole wall setup that they want to do in Saudi Arabia, where they want to put everybody in a wall that's like 400 metres across or something. So everybody's contained in this one little area, and no reason for you to go any further along the wall. Everything will be in your one area. That's what they want to do everywhere, folks. You know, gradualism, that's how they're doing it, just gradualism. They're still calling for amnesty as well. Please, you know, we didn't know about the data, and we didn't know about this, we didn't know about that. We want you to forgive us. Like I said last time, you know, people that have woken up along the way because they've lost children or whatever, sure. But those people who ostracise their family, they let parents die in nursing homes, the politicians, the media, the police that enforce this shit, no amnesty for you guys. They're trying to shift blame and pretend you're the victims now. Unbelievable, folks, what these people do and what they constantly do. So everything's backwards. Everything they try to present you is backwards, and all the things they accuse you of doing is stuff they do themselves. You know, and we know it's all one system anyway, folks, of course. UK, America, Canada, Australia, it doesn't really matter. It's really all the one government with all of these people. One good thing that's happened is in Florida they have banned puberty blockers for minors. That's a good thing. A lot of this transgender stuff is really starting to get to a lot of people. There was a guy, actually, there was a court case, I think in the UK. There was a man who got caught with a knife or something like that. And he went to court as both a man and a woman in the same day on 2 different charges. One was for Alan, whatever his name is, and the other was for Alana, whatever his name is. Record-breaking court case, how you can go to trial for being a man and a woman in one day. Unbelievable, folks. And 2 charges, faced 2 charges, I think, possibly even for the same event, but one of them carried out as a man and one of them carried out as a woman. How does this work? I mean, the world's gone completely crazy. And now the lawyer's even saying that, the judge should reconsider jail time because she's very concerned at how devastating it will be for her if she goes to jail. Well, that's what happens when you commit a crime and you go to jail. It's pretty devastating for most people who do it. But you're saying you need lenience because you're both a man and a woman at the same time. It's absolutely incredible, folks. You know, there's only two genders, if you haven't figured that out yet. You're either a man or a woman. You can't be both, and you can't really be anything in between, irrespective of what rubbish they're pushing. Another thing that we saw that I mentioned the other day was the Brazilian election and all the riots that were happening in Brazil. It seems pretty obvious that this election was stolen, folks. Lula, who got in, like I said last report, he had like 1% of the vote or something. You look at the rallies, it's been like even worse than the Biden and Trump rallies. The rallies for the previous president were huge. What's his name, Bolsonaro or something like that? And the new guy, Lula, there's just nobody at his rallies, and yet he gets in, and of course he's a World Economic Forum puppet. They're all World Economic Forum's puppets, folks. It's incredible how that works. And like we've been saying as well, I mean, with all this that's going on, you know, all the elections have been stolen that you've seen in the last few months. I mean, this year, the last couple of years, all the elections have been stolen. Klaus Schwab's often said how he's got his people in high places right around the world and his people in government in all places right around the world. I mean, Justin Trudeau and Jacinda Ardern are absolutely some of the worst. Something that's going on in New Zealand as well is they are bringing in a new anti-terror bill and saying that they're looking for domestic terrorists. And they basically pointed out everything Jacinda Ardern's been doing in this bill they want to bring in. They're saying you've got to watch out for people who are promoting an us and them mentality, and they're basically urging people to narc on their neighbours. If they see their neighbours kind of thinking outside of the box, then they need to narc on their neighbours. And like I said, Jacinda Ardern has been doing everything they basically named in this bill through her whole COVID scamdemic and all the guidelines that they put in place in New Zealand. But again, you know, it's all leading to the same thing. It's always been leading to the same thing: control, surveillance. They're actually saying in Australia now, they're saying there's going to be a new wave. Look out, could be a new wave any moment.
We're starting to see an increase in COVID cases and changes in the variants circulating in New South Wales, which tells us that we're entering the next COVID wave. By looking at all the local information we have and what's happening overseas, we believe COVID cases will rise in the coming weeks. The protection the New South Wales community has from vaccination and previous infection continues to reduce the risk of severe illness. However, the elderly and those with underlying health conditions will continue to be at higher risk. BA4 and BA5 Omicron continues to be the most common variants. However, we are seeing a rise in XBB, BQ1.1 and the BA2 sublineages. So what can you do? Make sure you're up to date with your vaccinations. This is your best protection, including against the latest variants.
And of course, they're bringing in new guidelines in Queensland. As I showed you on a chart on the last report, I think, I mean, you've got green, the traffic light way of reading things. And even in the green part, where everything's apparently normal, it's all still COVID guidelines there. You know, nothing's back to normal. This is what they call normal now. And they're saying a new wave may come in Queensland, and what may bring it on and what may prevent it. I mean, the real problem here with this new wave of COVID coming is a lack of surveillance. Of course, folks, you need more surveillance. That's going to prevent COVID. So the whole thing has been about that. This has all been about surveillance the whole time. By the way, did you know on the internet, when you have to sign into websites and they want you to click to show that you're not a robot. You know what that does? Like a robot could actually click that. What it does, when you click that I am not a robot, it gives permission for that website to view all your browsing history.
When you click I'm not a robot, what it actually does when you press that button, they're collecting data at the same time. Have a listen.
Ticking the box is not the point. It's how you behaved before you ticked the box that is analysed. Broadly speaking, you tick the box and it prompts the website to check your browsing history. So let us say, for example, just before you ticked the box, you watched a couple of cat videos, you, I don't know, liked a tweet about Greta Thunberg, you checked your Gmail account before you got down to work. All of that makes them think that you must be a human. Essentially, when you are clicking I am not a robot, you are instructing the site to have a look at your data and decide for itself.
Let me get this right. When you tick I am not a robot, it can go through your history.
Yeah,
You're authorising
something.
it. Yeah, you're telling it it's okay. Go and have a look what I've been looking at.
This really disappoints
I had no
me.
idea.
Yeah, how many people guessed that's what they were doing there? And, and all these ads that they have all over Facebook and stuff, nobody clicks these ads. When you're on these social media sites and there's ads all over your pages, these ads are tracking what you're doing, folks. They're just checking whether you're human or not, what sort of things you're interested in, checking at what you're posting. A lot of them are keyloggers, because no one ever clicks on these ads. And think about it, it costs thousands to run ads on these websites. Why would people be running ads on them when nobody clicks on them? Because the ads are actually spying on you. They're not ads, folks. They're doing all sorts of other things. This whole thing has been about surveillance the whole time. All of it. I don't know whether you caught there's a singer called The Weeknd. I think he sells himself as The Weekend, but it's actually spelt The Weeknd. And his last concert seemed to be some sort of very strange satanic ritual.
Archangel, dark angel, lend me thy light. Through death's veil till we have heaven in sight. Archangel, dark angel, lend me thy light. Through death's veil till we have heaven in sight. Archangel, dark angel, lend me thy light. Through death's veil till we have heaven in sight. Archangel, dark angel, lend me thy light. Through death's veil till we have heaven in sight. Beelzebub, Asmodeus, Satanas, Lucifer.
So they're putting all this in your face, folks, and they're really coming for your children through this whole thing. As we've seen, the sexualisation of children that's happening in the schools, all the sex education they're given to 5-year-olds, the gender transitioning and all this crap they're trying to do. There's now a book, I saw a report, I'll see if I can find it. It was a guy looking at a parenting book, and in the parenting book it is now suggesting that you leave your bedroom door open, that parents leave their bedroom door open when they're having sex, so the children can kind of catch them having sex, and they should be exposing their children to the act of sex very, very young.
Anybody who says that they aren't coming after your kids, they're just straight up lying or in the dark. This new education book for kids, 8 to 12-year-olds, says kids should watch their parents do the thing, and it even gets worse. Here's some tips on educating your 8 to 12-year-olds. You can deliberately leave the bedroom door open while you're expressing intimacy, or call them in to bring you something when you're doing it. Take them into the bedroom with you and allow them to watch. And a couple should show no inhibition during these things. These people are sick. Dude, this is just insane. You know this is just normalization to the next step.
These sorts of things are now being promoted as good parenting. Think about this, folks. Think about where they're going and what they're doing, and how people are being led down this pathway. And most of what's doing the leading is bots as well, folks. I mean, as I've said to you before, around about 60% of the activity online is bots. And that's actually been proven by an Australian group who looked at all of the anti-Russian tweets and found that 80% of anti-Russian tweets are from bots. Interesting how that works. So they do this to mould public opinion. Like when you go online and you see all sorts of people supporting Ukraine and supporting this sanctions on Russia and supporting the jab and supporting all these things, and you think, oh my God, it's hopeless. Look at all these drones and all these sheeple that are actually supporting this stuff. 80% of them are bots. Over 60% of online activity completely is bots. And on Twitter, I mean, maybe Elon's going to claim that he'll fix this. I don't know. It was interesting seeing Elon dressed as Baphomet for the Halloween celebration. So, you know, if you think Elon's on your side, I would suggest again, folks. And what we've got to see is that this whole thing that they're doing is an attack on the children. It's an attack on us. It's warfare. We're in a state of war. The whole world's been in a state of war since, I don't know, for years, folks. I mean, I said this in 2008 in my first film, The Big Picture. I said World War III has already started. World War III is a war of depopulation, and it's being waged by the elites against the citizens of the world, and it's happening right now. You know, AI, medicines, I mean, and medicines is warfare. It always has been. Allopathic medicine has been warfare right since the beginning. But they're doing everything they can to undermine our societies and replace Western societies with all these migrants and all these people they're bringing in. They want people that, you know, you can go and destroy a country and give them a hard time and then bring them to a new world. Give them all sorts of benefits and all the things they're doing to the migrants they're bringing in. It's very hard to get these people to stand up against the government because, you know, they just came from a war zone that was created by the very governments that have come and rescued them, but put that aside. And they bring them into the countries and they give them all these privileges and all this stuff, and suddenly they find themselves living in a pretty cool place and getting all these privileges and getting a pension and getting handouts and sort of basically living under socialism. And I think, well, this is pretty cool. It's a lot better than what it was. So then when the government gives them jobs down the line and replaces the workforce with these guys, it's just, you know, they think it's a good thing. That all they know is that they've come out of this horrible place that they were in, this horrible situation they were in, and they've been brought to a better world. That's one of the reasons they promoted multiculturalism so much, folks, because people form their own communities. I mean, you get the Chinese come over, you get the Arab people come over, you get whoever people. When you get expats go to another country, they kind of tend to form their own communities and all hang together. A lot of them don't even bother to learn the language of the local country that they're in. And these people, because they're immigrants, they get special privileges from government. So it's very difficult to rally them to say something against the government because they don't want to get deported back to the war zone they immigrated from. And because they get all sorts of special privileges and things, you find that the local people start to form bad relationships. They see these people as being privileged and they start saying, well, screw the migrants, screw the Indian people, screw the Italians, screw these guys who are coming to our country, taking our jobs, all this sort of stuff. It's all contrived and put there that way so that the locals will think that. Because the people who come to your country, they don't integrate into the society. Like if you have migrants come to Australia, they don't integrate into the society and become Australians. They form their own community, the Middle Eastern community or the Chinese community or the whatever community. And they keep within that community, which creates all this animosity. So you've kind of got these little mini civil wars going on in every city where you've got this multiculturalism happening, which is why they do it. And that's why it's so difficult to rally the population to come up and stand up against the government and everything that's happening. I mean, hopefully some of it is coming about now because of this scamdemic, because it's become so obvious that this is a scam to so many people. I mean, I don't know how you can't see it now. The amount of people that are dying, I mean, even the fact that they're asking for amnesty. This shows that, the wheels are falling off the system. So they need to ramp up the control grid as much as they can. And that's what all this has been about. So you don't think that this is over yet, because it isn't.
In the past 2 months, New South Wales has seen the lowest recorded rates of COVID-19 in the community since December last year. But authorities say that's about to end. The latest data shows positive case numbers have increased 11% in the last week. And the proportion of PCR tests that are coming back positive has increased from 7% to 9% in the same time. Those two things, plus the increasing dominance of the new subvariants of the virus, tell authorities that a new wave is on the horizon. New South Wales Health says up-to-date vaccination and prior infection are the best protections against severe disease. And new research from Australia's National Centre for Immunisation has found at least 2/3 of adults across the country have had the virus within the last year. The survey of children and adolescents showed 64% had the virus in that time, with rates higher, around 80%, in unvaccinated children under 5. New South Wales Health is urging people to use common sense. For example, avoid vulnerable communities like aged care homes while sick.
They've got plans to just keep these pandemics ongoing, keep this medical tyranny ongoing. I mean, it might be pretty sort of calm at the moment, but with what they're doing with the floods and the, buyback schemes, buying back homes in Australia, I think I mentioned that on the last report, create these flood zones, just completely flood them out. They're saying these weather events are going to just keep coming. It's global warming, of course. Nothing to do with them, nothing to do with their weather manipulation that they're so open about when they want to be. Oh yeah, we're cloud seeding here, we're cloud seeding there, and we've got contracts with this company and contracts with that company and blah, blah, blah. But oh no, we don't control the weather. Yeah, right. All the weather's controlled, folks, and we're about to see one of the most interesting years on record, I think. We really are. The loss of energy through Europe, the breakdown of the supply chain. David Icke was banned from the EU as well. Speaking of the EU, you probably saw that. David Icke was going to go and speak in Amsterdam, and he got a letter the day before. Apparently he was in wherever it is, Devon or whatever. He was in the east of England, he was in a motel or a hotel, about to go through the tunnel to Amsterdam, and he got a long rambling email that night telling him that he was banned from entering Amsterdam, and not only entering Amsterdam, but also banned from all countries in the European Union for the next 2 years. That's pretty radical, folks. Being banned from Australia. I don't know whether he was banned from New Zealand. I guess it's going to be difficult for him to get to New Zealand anyway, because how's he going to get there without going through some of these countries he's banned from? And yeah, interesting stuff. I think he's going to be speaking at an Acapulco this year as well in the Secret Garden. I don't know whether he's going to be here or whether he's going to do it virtually. I think the plan is for him to do it virtually. But who knows, with all this going on, maybe he'll come over because he just wants to get out of England for a while. Who knows? Wouldn't surprise me. I've said so many times that this is one of the greatest opportunities for freedom we've ever had. And I still think that. But it's only going to be if people are willing to participate and realise that they can put down the chains anytime they want. It's time for them to stop blaming other people. And time for us to start thinking about a way forward. And put down all your differences with people, folks. This is something I was saying on the other report that I did. It doesn't matter who you listen to. It doesn't matter whether you listen to me, whether you listen to Alex Jones, whether you listen to David Icke, listen to Dol Vigilante, listen to Redacted, listen to anybody. It doesn't matter. If you're awake and aware, and you're saying, well, you're arguing with the people who listen to me might be arguing with the people who listen to Alex Jones and saying, well, Alex Jones is a shill, you shouldn't listen to him. So these two listener bases are fighting. There'll be people who listen to me and who listen to Alex Jones and who listen to David Icke and who listen to all sorts of people. What about if all of you listeners stopped arguing over who you think is the best guru and all united yourselves? Because there's millions of you out there. There's millions and millions of people who listen to basically a few dozen or maybe a couple of hundred truth tellers online. What about if all those listener bases put down their differences, stop thinking that whoever you listen to is the guru, realise that everybody's got a piece of the puzzle. It doesn't matter who they are. Take what you need from it and form the reality in your own mind. I mean, once you get enough information from enough sources, the picture becomes clear. Even if there's disinformation among what some people say. But the whole point of all this stuff is to keep people divided. It's like I said, different news reporters, different TV stations, different football teams. And the kind of truth movement resistance has almost become like that, different football teams. And yet, well, the goal is that all the people out there listening and watching all like football. So how about you all get together and start kicking your own footballs and realise that this whole listener base is the resistance. All of you guys. So put down all your stuff with people. Put down all your opinion of just because someone listens to somebody else, what that makes them or whatever. And realise that you guys united, the people united, is the biggest fear. of the elite. That's what terrifies them more than anything else. If we were to ever put down our stuff with each other, start respecting each other and just unite as one worldwide front. That scares the shit out of them. And they're terrified of that happening, which is why they're asking for amnesty. Because, I mean, so many people are waking up now. So many people are getting it. Even with the new wave thing that they're saying in Queensland, oh yeah, we're heading for a new wave, it's inevitable. Some of the comments on the government Twitter page, it just show that people have had enough of this shit. Even the people who believe in COVID have had enough of this shit. They're saying, well, you know, we didn't get the jab and we never got COVID, so, you know, obviously you guys are scared, which is why you're doing these things. And that's why they're claiming that anybody with an us and them mentality must be a terrorist or whatever. Everything they've done, they're trying to put on the people now and accuse you of doing this and being this way, when it's all, you know, this is how they do it, folks. Everything is backwards. It's a mirror world. And like I said, this is unconventional, undifferentiated warfare. They're making it up as they go along, anything they can. And some of the shit they've made up through this. Climate change is causing heart attacks, you know, watching the TV is causing heart attacks, falling asleep in front of the TV. Hot days cause heart attacks, cold days cause heart attacks, jogging causes heart attacks, premenstrual tension causes heart attacks, football whistles cause heart attacks. You know, they're just making it up as they go along. So they keep making up variants and trying to keep pushing this, but the steam's running out. Nobody believes it anymore. So many doctors have realised that they've spent their life poisoning people. Now people go to check for checkups with doctors, you know, come and look at me and tell me if I'm healthy or not. Well, you feel fine. Why did you go to the doctor to begin with? The doctor's just going to say, oh, look, I found a little problem. You need this medication, because they get money for it. They get money for the more medication they give you. And the more medication they give you, the sicker you get, the more you need the doctor. This is the way it works. Pharmaceutical companies don't make any money out of healthy people. So they've formulated this whole scam of convincing people they need to come in for a checkup all the time, just so they can find something wrong with them. Give all these parameters of what your blood pressure should be and all this. They don't freaking know. They just say, well, it should be this because it says so in the book, and if it's a little bit off that, well, we'll give you this drug to bring it back down. Of course, there'll be about 17 different side effects you get from this drug, and then we'll have to give you 17 different drugs to deal with those side effects, which will give you another 40 or 60 other side effects that we'll have to give you drugs for. But hey, it's all good. This is going to fix your blood pressure. It's such a scam, folks. I mean, I've been to a doctor 3 times in my life. When I broke my finger, when I put a nail through my foot, and when I broke my foot, and so 4 times. 4 times I've been to the doctor. Don't take vaccines. I've been to dozens of countries all around the world, travelled so many places, never taken any vaccines, never get sick. Have a bit of a detox sometimes when I haven't been looking after myself and the seasons change, but that's about it. So yeah. But anyway, folks, I'm going to leave it there for now. Thank you for joining me on this report again. Thank you to anybody who's ever made a contribution or sent me a kind email. I've got a few interview requests I will get to. And I'll look forward to speaking to you again soon, folks. Please take very good care. Until then, in Lakesh.